G'day guys, my name is Don and you're watching my channel Don Astronomy. This video is a follow-up from my last video, which was the purchase of my new Askar FRA 400 apochromatic refractor. Great little telescope. I haven't actually used it yet. My last video was really just first impressions. It wasn't a setup and it certainly wasn't first light, which it doesn't look like it's going to be happening anytime soon. We've had so much rain here in the last couple of weeks. We've had 116 mil just this week. I did warn everyone in the last video that this would happen because I just purchased a telescope, especially all those people in central western New South Wales and Australia. So I apologise again. So the next video will hopefully be first light, but this one is the setup. So there was a lot of comments and I got good feedback from my last video, and thank you for all those people who watched. I've got nearly 2,000 reviews so far, or views so far. And I did have a lot of comments about questions on the setup, and the video wasn't really a setup. I just kind of showed you guys and I kind of roughly put it together. I hadn't actually even focused on a tree or set my back focus distance up or anything like that. So in this video I'm going to do all that. My camera that I'm using has a 17.5 mil back focus distance, so I'm going to be using that. I've also got a focuser, electronic focuser. I'm putting on it a filter drawer, and then the adapters that actually come with the telescope as well. I'll put those on to get my back focus distance, and then we'll hopefully focus on some trees and get that part of it set up so you guys have got a better explanation, because I did have quite a few comments and I'll be able to answer them as I go along through the setup procedure. So let's get going. Okay, it looks a little bit different. For those who watched my last video, I've made a few changes, and I worked out once I got this all up and together that I was over the recommended weight of the mount. So the Little Star Adventure GTI mount is only recommended to be a maximum of 5 kilograms for astrophotography. So it came in at 5.5 kilograms, so I had to get rid of a half a kilogram. What I did was, the computer, if you noticed in the last video, was attached to a bracket that had a dovetail saddle on it, and then I changed this saddle to a longer one, and that was to accommodate the computer coming on and off, so I could use it with different astrophotography rigs. I've had to forego that for weight, so I've taken all that off now and I've bolted the computer straight onto the bracket that comes with the little astrograph. I've also put the original dovetail bracket back on, and now I've managed to get the weight down considerably. The whole thing now, I've also put on a focuser, so I've added a focuser as well. And the focuser I use when I'm shooting with my Hyperstar, and I'm not using the Hyperstar at the moment, I'm shooting at full focal length, so I'm using my Zato focuser. So I've been able to pinch that, and now the whole thing comes in about 4.7 or 4.8 kilograms, so I'm underweight, and that's including all the cabling in that as well. Now I've also put on I've had to get my right back focus distance, so the 294C has 17.5 mil, which is pretty standard for most cameras. I've got a filter drawer in here, and I've also put on the brackets that come with the telescope, and I've lost the compression fittings, and we'll go through that as well. I'll go through how I come to achieve my correct back focus for this. I almost forgot. The Star Adventure GTI mount only comes with one weight, and it's a 2.3 kilogram weight. What I hadn't realised and what I forgot to think about, once I got this rig on at nearly 5 kilos, I didn't have enough weight, so I had to buy another weight. Now, I tried to get another 2.3 kilogram weight, one of the original weights. I tried Bintel, I tried Sirius Optics, I tried Testar, I tried Sidereal Trading, a couple of others. I couldn't find one. For some reason, there's just nothing in Australia at the moment. But I managed to find this little Ioptron one, which is only about 1.2 kilos, and I think I realised that the shaft size on this was the same, and I got this from Testar, and I think it works out well because I don't need the 2.3 kilograms, and I think it's nice to black and the white together. So, and now I've got balance okay. with room to spare, and I'm also balanced in my deck as well, so that's pretty good, and that's with the cabling on. It's easy to find balance. Alright, so let's move on with it. Okay, here's the little rig upside down. Easy to show you guys what's going on here. This is the ZWO EAF focuser. It's the older model. I have just the components that were included in the kit, fitted the little Askar telescope without any issues at all. So if you've already got this, then you're not going to have any problems mounting it to your little FRA 400. So this is the this is how it comes standard. So it's got two compression fittings here. There was a question in one of the comments about they don't like compression fittings for their cameras. You don't have to worry about that because there are threads in this as well, and I'll show you as I go. But you have, first of all, your 1.254. You can put a 1.25 inch diagonal there for 1.25 eyepieces for visual work, or you've got a larger 2 inch. You can put a larger 2 inch diagonal in there as well for 2 inch eyepieces, or you can also use compression fittings if you want for your astrophotography. I guess it's up to your own preference. It's this though, this compression fitting will just simply screw off, so you don't have to use it. And the good thing about this, first of all, because you've now got an M68 adapter, so you know, especially if you're using medium format or really large format cameras, it's quite good. Now, the telescope itself comes with quite a few adapters. So in my case, my camera is the 294C. It's got 17.5mm back focus and it's a 42mm thread. So to get this from M68 back to 42mm, no problems. Everything's already included. So here we have a M68 thread to a M54 thread, which simply bolts onto that. And there's another adapter which has an M54 to an M52 thread, which will screw straight onto that. And then for, in my case, my ZWO filter drawer, this one here has M48 fitting there. So this goes from M54 now to M48. This is also included. And then my filter drawer, or maybe in your case your filter wheel, will screw on like so. So now here's my QHY294C color camera, and it's got this 17.5mm of back focus, and it just screws straight on. So there's the assembly. So from the field flattener, which is inside here, to my sensor, we need 140mm for its correct back focus. So I'm not quite sure what the length of that is. It looks like around about 70mm or so. But once the focuser drives out, I reach focus at around about 40mm. So the focus travel on this is, I think goes up to about 55mm, so it's quite a generous amount of travel. So you're going to find getting your back focus quite easy. In my case, I think it came out around about 40mm. I had to drive it out with my driver to find focus. But we'll have a look and we'll see. Let's move on from here. I forgot to connect my audio in this scene, so I'm doing a voiceover, but that's Nina there installed in my tablet, connected to the computer on the telescope via my telephone. They're all tethered by the telephone, so the Nina tablet's connected to the phone and the computer's connected to the phone. That's how they communicate. I've got a video on that, and if anyone's interested, I'll leave a link at the end of my video so you can go to that. I've set this up so that the park position will slew to some trees, and the reason I've done this is to spare you guys the pain of me trying to do this manually in front of you. So what I've done, it'll slew over to some trees there, and once it gets to that position, then I will run my focus point out and I'll focus on some trees. So I've already worked out my focus point previously, so I'm going to type that in there now, and I'll hit move. That will move the focus around. As you can see, it's working nice and smoothly, and as I mentioned previously, it will go out to about the 40mm mark, and that's where I find my optimum focus. And you'll see it'll slowly start to come in to focus here as it gets closer to that point. And we're just about there, and voila. So that's focused, and I know it's not a star, but I don't think it'll be too far. There won't be a lot more travel than that. Okay, happy days for me. I think that went okay. I'm pretty confident now. Just got to get first light on this thing. The only other thing I can think of is weight. Yes, we are pushing the limits to the weight. I'm slightly under. You could put an electronic focus wheel on this. I think if you take that filter drawer off, that's probably 100 grams or so. And I know ZWO make their little mini 5 carousel one in the 1.25 inch, and I think it's only a few hundred grams, so it's pretty good. So you lose 100 and gain 300, so it'll put you right on the 5 kilogram limit. Anything that would push it slightly over, and I don't know how it's going to perform. I guess we'll see how it's going to perform, because I'm pushing the limit to this mount. So hopefully when I go to do first light, it'll also be a good little test for the Skywatcher to see how well it tracks as well. Thanks guys for watching.